Welcome to Psychic Bent. My name is Carrie.
And I'm Kim. We are two sisters wanting to help other psychics learn and grow in their abilities and to help educate about spirits, angels, and everything psychic. Welcome back to Psychic Bent. Today we are starting a new series on empaths.
Well, Kim, before we get too involved with empaths, there's something I think I need to share with our listeners. It's kind of personal, but kind of funny. I suffer from, and I don't know if this is a real term for it, word dyslexia. Have done it for years. I think it's a family trait where I will say something and get the words mixed up and just keep on going. Don't even notice I did it. And usually people don't seem to notice either. But I did do that, I know, at least twice in some of our episodes. And one glaringly obvious one was in episode 1, when I was talking about the haunted house and what we do for Halloween. And instead of saying bale of hay, I called it a hail bay.
Yes, you did.
So that was not pig Latin. That was... Yeah. And I do it without knowing I'm doing it. I think sometimes I have a lisp, and sometimes I think I'm concentrating so much on trying not to lisp that I get my words totally screwed up. So I'm calling it word dyslexia. It's probably not a real thing, but I do apologize to the listeners that might annoy, because you know what is going to happen again. And again, and again.
And again.
Or you could have fun in trying to find what word did she screw up this time. So it could be a game, just however you want to do it.
Well, I find it charming, so.
You're my sister. You have to find it charming because you do it too.
I do it too.
So it becomes incredibly charming at that point.
Yes, of course. Okay, so in this first episode of the Empath series, we're going to introduce you to what an empath is and the different empaths that there are. So an empath is a highly sensitive person who takes on the feelings of others in a very deep level. They quickly understand how someone else is feeling, and they have a need to help others. The empath has very good intuition. They are able to absorb the emotions of others and rely on their gut feelings and instincts to make sense of everything. Noticing little changes in body language, facial expressions, and tone, an empath can determine if there are any discrepancies with someone. Empaths are very, very creative. Picking up so much energy and emotions from their environment, the empath needs a creative outlet to express all they have taken in. The creations will move others because of the emotions and energy that was put into it.
Kim, I totally agree with that statement. Based on the fact that both you and I do craft shows and we sell things that we make. But, when I wire wrap jewelry, it's all intuitive. Sometimes I'll decide to wire wrap a stone and nothing will work right because it's not time for that stone to be wire wrapped and put into a piece of jewelry. But I just kind of let the wire do its thing. I just filled the whole pendant with happy intentions, and I just it's almost like a meditative type experience for me when it's working right. And then it seems like the owner, the new owner for the stone, or the person who needs the stone, seems to find it at a show. They're just drawn right to it. That's it. They have to have it, that stone has something for them. And I think it's the intentions that are put into it as well.
Well, that's really neat. Is that the only thing that you do as far as creative outlets?
No, I do a Dutch pour paint, which drives you absolutely crazy because it's really messy and it's a lot of fun, and you waste a lot of paint.
Yes.
And you have no
drives me crazy.
And you have no control over how the paint spreads out. You're basically pouring different color paints and taking a hairdryer and blowing it out, and it just runs off the canvas, and you really don't know what the end product's going to be, and it's really kind of cool. And people seem to be drawn to certain paintings. No Michelangelo, obviously, because I use a hairdryer. But it's kind of a fun. No, I don't have to think about anything. I just what colors are drawn to this, and let's just go. So that's definitely it. I do laser art as well with my laser engravers. I'm not sure that's as intuitive, but I do have a story that's unrelated to empaths, but has to do with my laser engraver.
Okay.
I have a friend who is very much into the macabre, And I came across a design, and I don't do anything Ouija boards because that's just not my thing. But it was a planchette earrings with the moon phases on it. And oh, she was just crazy about it. So, okay. So I downloaded, I bought the program off of Etsy, used it with my higher wattage laser and had nothing but trouble with the laser as soon as it finished the earrings. And then something else happened. And then I'm like, okay, you're leaving. You know, and I went to work and I told her, I said, you know, these earrings, if you want them, you can have them, but I have to tell you, I don't believe that the person who designed these earrings had the best intention in mind when they did it. And she's like, oh, come on, I'll take them, no big deal. You know, she's like, okay. She had them for 2 days and brought them back to me and said, no, here, no, nope. This happened. I said, I warned you. And she goes, well, let me give this to our other friend because she really liked them. I'm like, okay, that girl's got enough issues. Are you sure you really want to do that? You know, well, she doesn't have bad issues. It's just that, you know, she's a young mom and she works so hard to provide for her kids, you know, and like she doesn't need any bad luck or anything. And she took them and had at her desk for 10 minutes and gave them back. She had got back-to-back phone calls that were bad news. And yes, so I have deleted the file off my computer. I've smudged my computer, but that just shows you what intention can do when you're, as you're an empath. If you're in a good mindset when you're creating something, it can be gorgeous and beautiful and people are drawn to it and want it. But if you have the opposite mindset, when, you know, creating something or you're having a bad day, don't do it. Or you're mad at the world, don't do it. So I'm not exactly sure what intentions this person actually did when creating this. But yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, doesn't sound like it.
No.
I don't want them for Christmas.
No, they're gone. And by the way, they were going to burn them. I'm like, no, don't burn. No, we don't burn. We bury with salt. Bury with salt. We do not burn anything and release anything. We can put it in the ground with some salt.
That's right.
But I just thought that was kind of showing you the intentions, you know. But so make sure when if you're going to do a craft that you're going to share with others, make sure you're using your energy for good.
Yeah. Well, my craft is crocheting. Our grandma taught us early. I was probably 6 whenever I started crocheting with her, and I've been doing it ever since. That's my happy place. And
that's good because you're the only one that took to it. So she tried.
Yeah. Took one for the team.
Yeah. And she loved it. That's all that mattered. She loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, she loved the fact that she was able to pass that down to somebody. And I do it all the time and always hear stories from people about, oh, my mom used to do this, my grandma used to do this, and you'd hear the stories, so they'd have to buy it because it would remind them of someone that had passed, or, you know, they just needed to feel better, and it was something that just made them smile. So
yeah, that's good.
Now we'll move on to the characteristics of an empath. Now, one of the things that I believe every empath experiences is dislikes of crowds. And empaths take on the emotions of people around them. So when you're in large groups or a small room with a lot of people, it feels like a lot of people, it's crowded, you're picking up on all of those emotions and all those feelings and everything that's going on in the room. It could be a high energy experience, but too much of a good thing is hard for an empath, and they end up becoming exhausted by the time that they're finished in the room. Grounding is definitely necessary whenever you know you're going to be going into a large crowd or into a room with a lot of people. The next day, an empath usually has to recuperate and recover from such a heavy emotional drain on themselves. They need alone time and meditate, sit outside. I crochet, and that's how you can unwind from that busy day. They have ability to have deep conversations. So this is where people are very, very comfortable speaking with an empath. And they will engage in long, in depth conversations with you. They want to be able to express themselves and be heard, and empaths have the ability to see the perceptiveness of others and what's going on within them, and feel their emotions, and be able to empathize with what they're wanting to talk to you about.
When I first started at the place that I work now, I started out at entry level as a cashier. And the person who was training me, kept like, "Why do these people keep coming up and telling you their life story? What's going on with that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." But this one woman came up to the window and wanted to cash in something, and she's I'm talking to her, and all of a sudden she starts telling me about how her daughter had come home from work, went upstairs to take a shower and get ready and kind of relax, and never came back down. So she went up to check on her, and actually her daughter had passed away.
Oh, wow.
And so she was, telling me all this, and I'm letting her talk. She needed to get this out. She needed to say, I mean, her daughter was there, obviously,
Mm.
and making her presence really, really known. And, here I've got this, like probably 3-4 days on the job, and I got this trainer next to me, and I'm here like going to do my woo-woo stuff, without looking like I'm doing my woo-woo stuff. And, I just kind of asked her some questions and just kind of let her go and everything. And I just kind of like, well, she's with you everywhere, and she doesn't want you to be sad because she's with you everywhere. And I gave her a message that was personal and everything. And the lady, it just seems like everybody cries when you give them messages that are personal.
Oh,
And
gosh.
so she kind of starts to weep a little bit. I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get fired. making a customer cry. Um, and she left, and I think it really helped her. But the guy that was training me was like, "What was that about?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
I really don't know.
I'm not telling you what I know, and I'm not telling you nothing. Just happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
So that's spot on for empath.
Yeah.
That's why you don't make eye contact in public.
So true. Avoid eye contact at all
No
costs.
eye contact. Unless
Okay,
it's
so
unless it's
empath.
an animal.
Go ahead.
Unless it's an animal.
Yeah, unless it's an animal, that's true. Okay, so empaths have a need to be alone. Empaths are primarily introverts. They need alone time to help reset their feelings and recuperate. How to be alone in a house full of people, which I usually have a house full of people. I have to find a quiet spot, usually down in my craft room, where I can sit down and crochet, and or I walk around the house with my earbuds in with noise cancellation setting on. May not even be listening to anything, but they think I am, so they quietly go about their business with and give me my alone time.
Noise canceling headphones or earbuds are lifesavers. Just kind of bob your head, act like you're listening to music. Nobody knows. It's like,
Maybe do the occasional uh-huh.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
No.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great for the empaths that are wanting to zone out so that they can recover from the emotional and heavy feelings that they get. Oh, and empaths, they prioritize other people before themselves. So highly empathic people tend to prioritize their needs of the needs of others to the detriment of themselves. They try to protect the feelings of other people. So they, in other words, that they don't, they have a tendency not to say exactly what it is they're thinking and feeling because they feel it might hurt the other person's feelings. So they protect the other person before they see to their own needs. As an empath learns to ground and protect and love themselves, they are able to prioritize themselves when they need this. Self-care and self-love are necessary things to learn as an empath.
I think that's the hardest thing for empaths is to, because they just give and give and give, that you do need to take care of yourself. Because if you don't recharge your energy, your spirit. You're going to give till you got nothing left to give. And then what happens to you? Your body starts to
Right.
get sick. You start to have weird ailments. It's just very important for those boundaries and to, take care of yourself. It's not being
Right, because
selfish. It's not being selfish at all.
right, and it's okay to say no to people if it's something that you can't do or don't want to do, or feel that it's something that would be too much for you as a person. It's okay to say no. If they don't like you saying no, that is on them. That's their problem. It's okay if it's what's best for you. Another characteristic of the empath is sensory sensitivity. Empaths receive an influx of emotions, so additional sensory stimulation like bright lights, loud noises overwhelms them. Now, I myself have a very difficult time listening to several different types of music because it sounds like chaos in my mind and I become overwhelmed and develop a headache. I also have things that there's certain textures and things that I cannot touch because it makes my skin crawl and it just grates on my nerves. For example, like the guitar string. If anybody, even in music, they rub their fingers up those guitar strings to make that sound, I hear it and it just grates on my nerves. It's just one of those things I just can't stand, like the chalkboard, the nails on a chalkboard.
Ooh, don't like that. Not a fan of that.
Yeah. So, and there's different fabrics and things like that textures that I just can't purchase because when I run my hand across them, it's I guess it's the vibrations or something coming off of it that I'm just too sensitive. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Do you have anything like that? Do you ever experience anything like that?
No. No,
No?
I have problem with loud noises. I do not like loud noises, especially if it's, like if you're someplace and there's going to be fireworks, you kind of prepare yourself. But anytime there's
Mm-hmm.
a loud noise that is a surprise to me, it really just,
Mm-hmm.
really gets me going. Yeah, so I'm not a big fan with loud noises. But
Yep.
I think that's my big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I guess next we should go on to the types of empaths.
Okay.
So which one would you like to start with today, Carrie?
Let's start with Animal Empath.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so we're gonna jump right on into Animal Empath.
Okay.
Now, an animal empath is a person who has the gift of being able to understand signals from animals. This is a person who knows when an animal needs something, whether it be food, love, or even be left alone. Like us, animals often need their alone time, and the animal empath knows this. Boy, do I need my alone time.
Me too.
Many people find that they are drawn to animals more than they are to humans. Often these people have a deeper connection to animals than others. If someone is an empath and they are naturally drawn to animals, chances are they are also an animal empath. They have abilities that other people do not have. They are able to understand an animal's moods and instincts. They know when an animal is happy and when they are down or feeling ill. And in many cases, animal empaths have formed a telepathic communication. In fact, an animal empath can often influence the behavior of some animals because they are so in tune to the thoughts and feelings of animals that they often work in like an animal care facility or a pet store, something related to animals. I have a funny story.
Okay.
My cat Ranger always knows 5 minutes before I get home that I'm almost home. And he, of course, spends a lot of alone time on the bed napping, but like clockwork, jumps off the bed, and it's like, oh, she must be getting close to home. There goes the cat. And he's sitting there at the garage, at the door that leads to the garage waiting for me.
Oh.
And he does it consistently. So I think that's part of that telepathic communication. It's like he knows I'm almost there. It's not like he hears the garage door open because he's there before the garage door opener even would go off.
Right, right.
So I thought
That's cool.
that was one sample.
Right.
Yeah. So are you an animal empath? How do you know? There are some ways to be certain, for sure. Now, just keep in mind, like we talked about in the Clairs, you're not going to tick every single box on some of these. It's, if one or two resonates, okay, that's your empath. You could have more than one. Now, if you go to a party and you find yourself, do you find yourself talking to a lot of people, or are you sitting in the corner talking to the resident animal? Kim's found a cat or a dog somewhere.
Yeah.
Might even be at the neighbor's house. That's where she's at.
Maybe. Yep. I'm in the backyard.
Playing fetch with the dog.
Right.
But they prefer to hang out with animals or pets at parties, unless it's a snake. But they can also feel the emotional vibration from the animal, and that can be soothing because it's a different vibration than the vibration that's going on by everybody else in a very hectic and confined space.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you gravitate towards animals, you more than likely are an animal empath. I'm going to share a story about a feral cat that showed up one day, and he wouldn't let you get near him. He looked half Maine Coon. That's what the vet said when we finally caught him to get him a shot because he had a terrible abscess. But when he first showed up, I was sitting out on the porch, and I talked to him. I called him Wesha, which is Cherokee for cat. He liked it. He answered to it. So I would talk to him, and I would put some food out for him, and he would never come around the food when I was there. I'd have to come back in the house, and then he would eat it and leave and stuff. And one day I'm just sitting out there on the porch in the rocking chair, and he's just looking at me, and he jumped in my lap, and I'm like, okay, this is new. And then he curled up, started purring, and went to sleep. And I'm like, okay, how long am I going to be here? Because he's a feral cat. I'm not sure what he's going to do if I try to pick him up and get him off my lap. So that's, to me, is an example of an animal that just felt so in tune and so secure with me because of the animal empath that he just totally forgot himself.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he was a good boy, but yeah, he was quite the cat. So, I mean, that leads to the fact that, animals feel comfortable with you. You could go to someone's house and they tell you, oh, my cat doesn't like people. And that cat's like all over you, because they know that you're an animal empath. You get them and you're not going to hurt them. And, let's face it, animals are a lot smarter than most of us.
Yes, they are.
Hate to say it, but we're going to go there.
Yep.
And they know when a person's going to be kind to them. They know when a person is not someone they should get close to. If your house is where the strays are showing up because they feel safe and they know you're going to feed them, chances are that you're an empath. You're an animal empath because they just know. Now, a lot of people that are animal empaths might go into, like I said earlier, into the veterinarian field or work at an animal shelter and stuff. Now if that's a career path that you're going on, you do need to do a little more meditating and psychic protection because the owners sometimes are a little batty. Yes. I worked for a veterinarian for quite a while, and yeah. I love the animals, but some of the owners are just like, wow, can we get a tranquilizer dart in here for this guy? We're going to need to slip him a Mickey. He's a little
he needs a little meditation here.
Yeah.
Medication.
Meditation or medication, which did you say?
I said both.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what did she say? Like, huh?
Sedation was the word I was aiming for, but meditate, sedation, whatever.
Now, if you find yourself frequently talking to animals, that is a sure sign that you are an animal empath. And more than likely, you're having a conversation with them like you would with any human. And you're more than likely getting some sort of response from the pet, whether you're picking it up telepathically or you just know, that you're able to communicate. I have someone they're like, I swear that cat knows what you're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, of course he does.
Of course.
He knows me.
Right.
Another characteristic is, I find this one funny, but some people may think that you and your pet resemble each other. Now, I got a tuxedo cat that's black and white. I I don't resemble him. He doesn't resemble me, but he has a black spot on his back, and in that spot is a white patch of fur that goes into a circle as a C.
Yep.
So he's got my
Oh,
initial. So I guess
that's right.
So I guess that's a way of looking at each other, looking like each other.
I guess so.
All right. And do you see human qualities in an animal? Have you ever looked into your pet's eyes and swore you saw human intelligence behind those eyes? Or is it not uncommon for that's not uncommon for an animal empath? They see animals as four-footed humans most of the time, and they can distinguish differences and similarities between many types of animals. The animal empath sees every animal as an individual. They could see a litter of seemingly identical kittens and be able to tell each one apart immediately. And they're able to make a very special connection with animals and see the unique qualities each different animal has. This is why I can't go to the zoo.
Oh, that's why I cannot go to animal shelters.
Look in the eyes of those babies.
Yep.
Yes, it makes me very sad. And yeah, I can't go to a shelter. Or there would, if I won the lottery, there would be signs like lots of animals at my house.
Yeah.
And a bigger yard.
And a bigger yard, definitely.
Yeah. Animal empaths, they hurt when animal hurts. I mean, because you know how like some empaths can feel pain of others. Well, animal empaths can feel the same thing of the pain from an animal, and especially if it is a family pet, that can be very painful, and very hurtful.
Yeah.
So that's one disadvantage to being an animal empath, I think. I mean, on one hand, you know where that animal is, whether they're just hurt and they'll get better, or if it's a kind of hurt that's not going to go away. That they're getting close to end of life, and then you could sense that too. And we lost my mother last year to cancer, and then her kitty passed away about 5 days ago.
Yeah, about 5 days ago.
5 days ago. And her little kitty Walter curled up under her side of the bed. I guess that's one of the few places that, he still felt her or smelt her or felt close to her. And like the night before that happened, I told him, it's okay. It's okay. You can go. Because you just knew. Gave him a little Reiki and just, it's okay. You can go. You can go on and transition and go be with mom. And he did.
Yeah. That's how it was whenever our horse went down and couldn't get back up. And she was just so weak. She had a long battle of a diabetes type illness and a leg injury, really severe leg injury that we had nursed her through, and she never did fully recover from that. And she went down while we were on a trip, and it was 2 days before we were due to come back. And then when we got back, we tried everything we could to try to get her back up, and she was just in so much pain, and she was trying to get up, and I just went out there one night and told her it was okay. She was a good girl, and she had a wonderful life, but it was time that she needed to go to the light, and she'd be fine, and we'd take care of the other horse that was her buddy. So came out the next morning, and she had passed. So
yeah,
but you could just tell she knew we wanted her to get up, but I knew she couldn't get up. It was
and that's, it's hard when you have those situations, but it's also good from the aspect of you're able to tell them what they need to know to move on. And I think that even though it hurts when that happens, but you're also given a blessing because you're able to help that animal, that beloved pet, know that it's okay to move on and that you're actually giving them some peace.
Right. Because we all need peace, that's for sure.
Yes. So just as the summary on animal empaths, if you think you're an animal empath, chances are that chances are that you are a deep connection with animals. Take two.
Okay.
If you think you are an animal empath, you probably are. We're just going to leave it
Yeah.
like that. You probably are.
Yeah.
You feel their pain. You're happy when they're happy. You're sad when they're sad. All animals have feelings and emotions, but most of us do not even come close to understanding these feelings, except for an animal empath. When there are times when you are overwhelmed with your feelings for animals, there are things you can do in order to relax. Go for a walk with your pet. Make time to play and snuggle with your pet. My particular guy likes treats. Practice self-love, which includes rest, healthy eating, exercising, and setting up very important boundaries. And above all, learn how to distinguish your feelings and energies from the animals around you. I make it a common practice when I get an overwhelming sadness or hit with something really quickly and it's overwhelming. Is this mine? And I wait for the answer. Okay, if it's not mine, then I release it. And if I don't get an answer like saying, no, it's not, it's yours, like, well, okay, why? Why is this mine? I don't think so. So it's a good way to release things from you that don't belong.
That's a good practice for all empaths.
Now I'm going to go over some tips real quick. Do we have time, Kim, for some tips?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. You want to set clear boundaries. As an empath, it's essential to establish boundaries when interacting with animals. Understand that you have the ability to absorb their emotions, so it's important to protect yourself from becoming overwhelmed. Take breaks when needed, and don't be afraid to say no if you're feeling drained. Empaths feel the emotions of others intensely, so self-care is very important. Make sure you prioritize your self-care, take time to recharge, engage in activities that bring you joy and peace. You could be spending time in nature, practicing meditation. I think a psychic shower or bath is always good, where you're just letting the water run over you and just releasing everything that's not yours or doesn't serve you. I find that works really good.
Send it right on down that drain.
That's right. And listen to your intuition. If you're picking up that animal's energies, trust your instincts when interacting with them. You will sense if the animal is uncomfortable or scared. You give them space and allow them to approach you on their terms. Respect their boundaries. Just as you have boundaries, animals have their own boundaries too. Respect their personal space and avoid overwhelming them with physical touch or loud noises. Give them the opportunity to approach you.
Oh, those are all good advice. Good advice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I slipped into your notes there.
You did, but that's great. I didn't mind at all.
All right.
Okay. So what's the next one we're going to be covering?
The next one I'd like to talk about is dream empaths. Now, a dream empath...
I like this one.
Wait, do you want to do it instead?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. Didn't want to steal your glory.
Nope.
Dream empaths have very vivid dreams. They could be in color. Mine are in black and white. They're very, they could be the same thing over and over again, but different, or they could be totally whacked out different. Signs of a dream empath is they have vivid dreams they remember. You could have, I like to write down my dreams first thing in the morning, because as the day progresses, you're going to forget the big details, but that you're going to have vivid dreaming. You're attracted to the dream world. You may prefer to daydream and go back to those dreams you've had because, you're just drawn to them. Dreams are a powerful form of intuition because your ego is not around. You don't have your guards up. This is a good time that spirit, loved ones that have passed, can come in to see you or to give you messages, and to kind of nudge you in the right direction because you're open to it because you're dreaming, you're asleep. You could also receive guidance for healing, how to protect yourself, how to overcome things. You might have nightmares that could indicate which part of your energetic system is out of balance. Usually that's going to be your sacral or your solar plexus chakras, which are around your belly button area.
Right.
Like I said, spirit guides can use dreams to communicate with you. They can take on the form of animals, people, presence. You You could actually travel to other realms in your dreams, but it's especially so with a dream empath. And there's actually a thing called astral travel. And astral traveling is when there's a theory that when you're in the deep sleep, your soul leaves your body and goes elsewhere. And so when you astral travel, that's what that is, and you're going someplace else. Like you could be going to a beach or a coffee house, or you're at work, but it's not where you really work during the day, but you're at work and you're talking to people and you're going through motions with people, and then then you come back, and if you've ever been jerked, like your body just shake and jolt you awake,
Yes,
that's usually the end of the astral travel. That's when the soul is coming back into the body and it kind of jerks you awake. That's usually when it's a quick intro. It's not always that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for me, I
So,
would. Yes.
go ahead.
I know for me, like
Go ahead.
I used to have a lot of dreams where I was going back in time, 500, 600, AD time period in England, which I've never been, but I would always have these dreams there. And then I did a past life regression, and during the past life regression, if you don't know what that is where you get into a semi-meditative state or hypnotic state, and you go back to visit what past life do I need to visit to take care of maybe karmatic issues or past life things that have followed you to the current life that could cause you issues and problems. And I was doing this past life regression. It took me, bam, back into the same time period of my dream. There was clergymen. They're wearing white robes, and I think there was red on it. And one of them had me by my left wrist, and they were dragging me to a pyre. So obviously I was going to get burned.
Oh, wow.
For either having psychic abilities, they would have called you a witch and they would have burned you, or for being on the wrong religion or having no religion. But so during I basically forgave because it didn't show me the burning. It just once they grabbed my wrist, that kind of told me what I got a psychic download and knew what I needed to know, and just basically told them I forgive you because you were wrong. What you did was wrong, and I forgive you. And I cut the cords that were connected to me by these people, these men, and that there was no more issue with this time frame. I let it all go, and I never had that dream again. I never went back in time again. So it kind of ended that.
Now, so earlier when you said that you work in dreams, what are you doing as far as work?
Well,
in your dreams, I
will be walking around and talking to people, but it's like I just know I'm working, but I couldn't tell you what type of work I was doing. But there's a lot of people around, and I wake up in the morning and I'm really tired because I spent all night working. But it just could. I'll be in a building. The building's always different. Building full of people. And the last time there was an elderly woman named Mary, and Mary was going to help me. So I haven't quite figured out the Mary connection yet, because usually I don't come back with a name. But
oh wow,
yeah. So Mary was going to help me. So I don't know if Mary's waiting for me to show back up or not, or what, or if that was an angel or a past family member or who. But that was kind of interesting.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I had one dream that you get Carrie going in a story, guys, and we'll be here all day. Where I used to dream of my mother a lot when she was living, and she loves bears. They live on top of a mountain. They lived on top of a mountain. They had bears all the time: bears, foxes, coyote, bobcats, and
right.
When I would dream of her, it'd be a mountain lake with green shore going all the way around, and then the forest. And I'd always see her walking, and behind her, 10, 12 feet behind, would be a black bear just following her. And I can't tell you how many times I had that dream. Well, I had a friend or associate. She wasn't a friend. She was more of an associate who had started dating this guy who, this was at the beginning of my spiritual journey, told me he was a Reiki master. And I'm going, yeah, whatever that is. Okay, whatever. And kind of dismissed him. I thought he was a little weird, but it had nothing to do with him saying he was a Reiki. I mean, that was just my vibe was really, he was weird. So I'm having this dream after meeting him like a day or two later. And there's the bear and there's Mom. I start to yell to Mom, you got a bear following you. And I feel like I'm being watched. And I turn around and there's that guy that this person introduced me to, laying in the grass, watching me, laying on his belly, watching me. Creeper.
Creepy.
And I mean, and I was just kind of like, what the? And all of a sudden, I look down and a mountain lion comes around me, charges at him, and the lion leaped up to land on him, and poof, he was gone.
Wow.
And then after that, he was telling her that I was a witch. That was really bad stuff. And I'm like, you're just mad my kitty tried to get you. I'd never had a mountain lion in my dream before. Cats are my spirit animal. So I do believe that lion was a guide. He was intruding in my dream. And that is the thing. People can do that. And he got stumped right on out of my dream. But so I think because I was a dream empath, that made me more susceptible to that. I don't know. But it was creepy. I called you about it. It was like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what happened. This is really creeping me out.
Yeah, bizarre.
Yeah. Well, you have crazy dreams.
I do have crazy dreams. Mine always, if it's a very important one where I need to get this message, it's always about this big building that is on the same plot of land, same complex, and it's huge. It's like a school or a business office, business type environment, but inside it always changes depending on the message that I need to receive. Sometimes I have to start at the very top of the building, the very top floor, and have to work my way down to get to whatever it is at the bottom. And I have to go through different doors and fireplaces. It's always a maze and escalators, and then sometimes there's slides that I have to go down. And it, like I said, it just really depends on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing in this dream as to how the interior of this building goes. The latest one that I had with it involved there being this big public toilet right there in the middle in front of everything, and my purse flushed down it, and I had to try to get to wherever it was that the shut-off valve was so that I could turn it off and get my purse out of the toilet water, I guess you could say. At least it was a clean toilet.
Kim, there's an unspoken rule about toilets.
Yeah?
If it gets flushed down, you don't want it back. Sorry about your purse.
In the dream, it was okay. Oh, sorry. Just let it go, right? Is that what you're telling me?
Let your pocketbook go. They have more at the store.
Who needs that ID? You can always get another one somewhere else, right?
Well, ew.
I don't know. I don't know. But I had to learn the lesson. That was, I had to go through the maze.
Yeah, the lesson is keep your purse away from the toilet.
Yeah.
Dang.
There was a totally different lesson. It was teaching me that I did have to let something go in order to do something else.
Yeah, because it's in the toilet.
Yeah. Okay, so sometimes I need a board to hit me in the head to give me a message, okay?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
You're the poster child for stubborn.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
it's too left-brained, I know. Yes. I get it.
Okay, listeners, if it's in the toilet, don't go after it. Unless you're in dream. Unless you're
I won't do it again.
If you're in dream state, evidently it's okay.
All depends.
Wow.
Let's go on.
Okay. as we squirreled on that one, let's get back to,
Yeah.
there's certain things that, you're going to hear Kim and I repeat off and on all the time: journaling, meditating, journaling, meditating. And journaling your dreams is really important, especially if you have trouble remembering all of your dreams, or if you don't remember your dreams, but you want to try to develop this, so you can do more dream interpretations and such. First of all, if you're not good at remembering your dreams, set the intention before you go to bed that you want to remember your dreams. Some people find it easier just to write that on a piece of paper and stick it in the pillowcase or under the pillow, to basically say, oh, please let me remember my dream.
Ah.
But write down bits and pieces. When you're first starting to do it, you're not going to it's not going to be like a movie, like, oh, this was what happened, this happened, this happened. You're only going to remember some of the key things. But the more you journal it, the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. I know I've talked about this before, but I like to email myself bullet points from my dream. So after I have coffee and I'm thinking coherently, I think that I could go back and fill in with those bullet points the other pieces that I'm missing. And I find for myself with dream analysis, I focus on first, what does it make sense in this dream? What's one thing?
What does or what does not?
What does not make sense?
What does not make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
And then because I try to look, with the theory of, the message has to be with something that's, like Sesame Street, which one doesn't look like the other? That the message should be there because it's out of place. Whether it's the wrong color, whether it's something that doesn't belong, no matter what, I kind of focus on, and then you focus on colors. Then I go for colors. And then I'll go to okay, why am I dreaming about fish? I don't have an aquarium. I don't have any fish. Okay, so what does that mean? Now, I know personally, I like to I Google Auntie Flo, her dream diary, because she breaks it down to different types of religion, different types of things and then I just nope. Oh yeah, that resonates with me. That makes sense now. And I just kind of work through that. Because, when you're a dream empath, you really need to understand what that dream means, especially if it's a dream that is telling you of something that's going to happen or giving you a warning of something. So it's really good to get used to interpreting your dreams. So when you do get a dream that's a message that's very important, that you're pretty close to, oh, I know what that meant. Okay, cool. On it.
Right. Makes sense.
Yes. So, so when you're going to go to sleep, you want to ask questions of something that you might want to know. Be very clear, specific. When you wake up, write the dream in your journal and see how the question was answered. Kim, you did that, didn't you?
I did do that. I tried that one time, and it was about the podcast. So,
Did it say don't do it?
No, I was just wanting to know if we were going to be a success with the podcast in, 5 years' time. So I'm giving us a time limit, and it came back, yeah.
So all your listeners need to tell all your friends.
In general.
Have all your friends download and like us.
That's right.
So Kim's message can come through loud and clear.
Yeah. That's just the general gist of what it was, but it was pretty close. It was it was an answer. Let's put it this way. Yeah. I interpreted that there was an answer there, so that was good.
That's awesome. And you were open to it. You set the intention, which is great. A lot of times we want to ask a question, but we're afraid of the answer. But, like we spoke of this before, that spirit's loving, your spirit guides have been with you. They love you. They're never going to be, they may roll your eyes at you a couple times because you're like, really, we're doing this again? But, they're not going to, degrade you, leave you, say something bad to you. They would never do that. That's something you do yourself when you do your self-talk. So it's really good to set good positive intentions and be open to the answers, because you're not going to get a scary answer. You're not going to get a bad answer, So, and sometimes you get an answer you don't want, but it's the answer that's best for your highest good. Because sometimes we don't ask for what we really could ask for because we're like, oh, I really want this, but yeah, I'm probably not going to get that, so I'm just going to ask for this little thing down here. Maybe I'll get,
Right.
and then you've lowered your expectation, and now you're not expecting anything. So what do you think's going to happen? Your vibration went down, everything went down.
Exactly.
Of course, you're not gonna. That's not gonna happen because you really don't want it to.
Yep.
Have you had any other dream experiences you'd like to share?
I think that's about it for right now, off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay. Well, I think this is wrapping up this episode of Empaths. Kim, what are we going to start with next time?
Okay, so the next episode we will be talking about Earth Empaths.
There's one thing I would like to mention before we end this podcast is I'm in a different location than I normally am recording at, and every time Kim goes through and does the editing, I always have a female entity talking.
Yes, you do.
Every single episode, but we can't tell if it's our mother, or our great grandmother, or the ghost in the house.
Right.
So we can never tell. So I'm curious to find out if we actually have because it's always on my side. So I don't.
Right.
I've watched the recording and I've seen a couple blips come through when I'm not talking. So hopefully we still have that going on. But if we ever get a good enough clip, though, we are going to leave it in, even though it may not make sense, because if it's good, we want you to hear it too, because
Right.
we think our listeners would find that kind of interesting. But there's been quite a few that have been cut out, and so it's been consistent. I'm not sure why Kim doesn't have anything going on her side other than I was in a haunted house. This house, I'm not sure about.
It's because I'm in the closet.
You had the closet with the door closed. That's because you're a closet
Yes.
psychic. Oh, that was one of the words I missed. I did wrong. I called you a closet. I called you a psychic closet.
Psychic
I
closet.
called you a
Yes.
psychic closet. Yeah, that was one of my dyslexia words.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we should wrap
All right.
this up because now I'm starting to ramble.
Yeah. Yeah, we should call it an ending to this episode of Psychic Bent.
All right,
So,
guys.
join us next time when we talk about Earth Empaths.
All right. Bye.
Bye. May your light shine bright. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Psychic Bent. If you enjoyed Psychic Bent, please like, follow, rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to Psychic Bent. We can be reached on Facebook at Psychic Bent Podcast. Our email address is psychicbent1@gmail.com. May your light shine bright.